Yo, yo, yo. What is up? Fun games tonight. There's some pretty good games tonight. We're going to go over the fantasy recap. We've got the clickbait title. We've got the Porzingis over Beal rest of season, just
Is it
the
clickbait?
teammates. Is it clickbait? I think that's the question. I think I do these clickbait things and it's a little clickbaity. And it's also a little bit weird, right? Because we've seen Beal, miss more time than Porzingis. And, you kind of expect at some point in the season we're going to have a stretch of Porzingis missing games. It's just, something you just naturally have to deal with. But I don't know. I guess I'll kind of pose the question to you as we're kind of kicking this off. Obviously, we're going to recap
Yeah.
these games. Let us know in the chats. You guys are coming in if you have any questions. But I'll pose it to you. Would you rather have Beal or Porzingis rest of the season?
Injuries,
Right.
what we've seen from Beal since being injured and coming back. I like that he's facilitating more.
Yeah.
He's not kind of as aggressive as we had maybe hoped or thought that he would be as like a normal Beal.
Hmm.
Um, but I kind of like Porzingis. I mean, the positional advantage is nice too, right? Like having
Yeah.
there's few bigs that are very impactful for your fantasy team, and I
Yeah.
mean what we
In a
saw at
category
KP,
league, right? Having a big
right?
that rebounds decently, shoots threes, the scoring's there.
The threes is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Scoring and threes is a huge thing. Rebounding can be a little shaky with KP,
Yeah.
but he'll
Compared to
get his
other
own.
guys.
And then he's always good at the box upside too, right? So
For sure. No, I just think it's an interesting conversation. I think they're close too. Like I don't think it's like clear. Like I think obviously heading into the season it was like Beal pretty easily. And I think they're a lot closer. And then too, I think we're getting to the stage, right? I think for NBA fantasy, there's kind of a thing with like overreactions, right? And you look at these, you pull up fantasy points scored, right? If you're in points leagues and you're like, ah man, like this guy's better than this guy. Okay. And a lot of times it's kind of like, all right, well, some stretches, maybe there's some guys who've missed significant time, right? You'll have games where like, I pulled up the Raptors Heat game, right? OG, the game of his life, 32-10. Obviously, a lot of injuries open that up. So, OG's that like you get
yeah,
performances you don't expect from people season long. And no offense to OG, I didn't mean to pull him up as like a never gonna happen again example, but I think he's
which we saw last year a little bit.
right. But I mean the 32-10, right? It's just kind of like you have situations at the start of the season that you don't expect to continue like throughout the
Yeah,
entire season, but. Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think these kind of conversations because I think in fantasy, right, there's a lot of times where name value for trade purposes you can move people, right? Because there's times where it's like, hey, you could probably get beginning of the season, you could trade Beal for Porzingis plus, right, or Beal in a scrub for Porzingis in a you know mid round value guy. So I think those like kind of name
yeah,
value trades where it's like, hey, people who tried to cash in on Laurie, I know he didn't have a great game this last one, but you cashed him in the first two games. Like I just think player values change so drastically in NBA fantasy,
oh yeah,
and we're seeing
definitely.
that a
That's
lot.
that's what makes it so difficult, right? Is this
Mm-hmm.
it's such a day-to-day league, obviously. So it's definitely a thing you have to be attentive to when it comes to like guys past the elite, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'll start pulling up these games, and we can just kind of recap. I'll pull up a lot of kind of weird injuries and situations, and that's kind of in this game tonight. I guess not crazy. No Bam tonight for the Heat, and obviously no Siakam. We didn't have any Gary Trent either. So I'll pull up this game first. This was a good one. Toronto Heat.
Yeah,
Um,
covered the total by 2 points.
Right. Yeah, we were joking around that like this was not a game that we were thinking was gonna go over the total at all. This feels like a 99-101 kind of
Right.
game. These two teams matching up, but man, what a game! What a game by OG, dude. He was
Yeah.
super aggressive, super efficient. Van Vliet kind of did what you expect from Van Vliet, right? Shoots 10 threes in a game, gets his 23 points, solid assist game. Scotty had a really good game. Obviously, this coming without when you're missing Siakam and Gary Trent. I know Trent hasn't been amazing this season, but from like an offensive scoring perspective and a usage perspective, it definitely opened up things for Scotty and OG. I don't think there's much to like take away from this game. I don't know if you. It's nice to see 15-10 from our boy Chris down there. You get to see 25 minutes from him, but some weird minutes rotation stuff. I know for the Raptors, different than what we anticipated when some of these injuries happen.
Yeah, I mean, still no Boucher starting, Koloko not starting again as well. So it is interesting that like I think they're obviously comfortable running that smaller ball lineup with Banton and Young starting over. Got big guys like Koloko and Boucher, so it's just another game of seeing that they're okay going small ball and not having Boucher start. And then on the Heat side, I mean, just another efficient game from guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus that are kind of fringe-ish guys that are getting more minutes because of injuries as well.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like this game should have been lower scoring. Like they both shot over 50% and it barely covered the total. Like this was a pretty good best case scenario for not only fantasy owners but also maybe sports bettors as well. Um, so yeah, I don't think much to take away. But Jovic starting, but only getting 24 minutes is interesting, I guess too. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is I think it's kind of what we expected. A little bit more efficient offensively than we expected, but as far as lineups and minutes, kind of what we expected.
Yeah. I see in the chat, yo, what's up, Judge? Any advice for tanking in a keeper points league down to LaMelo? So I assume if you're talking about tanking, it's some sort of your, rookie picks and everything. So you're trying to get, you're doing you're taking for sure. But no, I think that's a big thing. I'm sure in dynasty leagues, I mean, just that the potential and opportunity to get honestly any of those like top three. I know Webanion is like he's the big one. Yeah, but you got those kind of guys too. I think tanking, a big thing is, you don't want to sell all your studs necessarily, but I think if you can buy players who are going to miss significant time with injury, right? You see, this is just an example. Like, I don't think this is like one you can just easily do, but like Harden goes down for a month, right? Harden's going to maintain value, obviously at his age or whatever. And we could talk about age and dynasty and keepers and everything, but guys like that are like, this guy's got an injury. He's going to miss a significant amount of time, like a month. That's going to kill your points for that month, right? But if you don't care about scoring this season, you can kind of, hey, I'll, maybe somebody's willing to move a guy for a worse guy who's healthy for a month, for these competing teams. So I think that's one thing you look at. You're trying to get points off your roster, but I don't think you want to throw everything away.
Yeah, the other thing is obviously on the opposite side of that, you're looking to trade with contenders, right? People
Mm-hmm.
that are wanting to win the league on the flip side. So you're maybe looking to get their not as good guys with high upside and get rid of your guys that are just, win now guys. So obviously like
Yeah.
tanking is a double-edged sword. So you can do what you got to do, but I wouldn't throw away, like Will said, I wouldn't throw away your best players just because you can for this one year. You still got to think about the future with your studs, but
Yeah.
also, look for the teams that are contending, preferably in like a month or two. Guys that like the managers know, like, okay, I have a shot this year, and take the guys with high upsets. Like, if you have a stud in your league that you think in the future is going to end up being a contender, and they have like a Ben Mathurin, it's like, okay, maybe like I can give this guy a win now guy.
Or
That's
like
going
a
to give
Jabari. I mean, I think
yeah,
Jabari is one of those guys where like, I think 2 or 3 years, we could easily forget about how bad the start's been for him, but I expect him to kind of struggle, and he's going to hold value, right? We're seeing him. I mean, top 3 picks that are going to play 30 minutes. He's shown.
yeah.
I'm not super worried about him long term, but I think this year he's not going to be like a fantasy stud.
What do you think about like, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but it's still kind of answering the question a little bit. But what do
Yeah.
you think about like a Sexton in that scenario?
Hmm.
Because he's not like he's definitely a
Yeah.
guy. Even if he's rostered, right? He might not even be rostered at this point. But
Oh,
he's
I'm
had
sure. Yeah, he's had a couple
I'm
like
sure he's rostered.
good games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been doing better than the initial start of the season, but still a guy that like in
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years you could think that he could be the guy along with Florian.
Yeah, those young guys who you have you can paint the picture for like 2-3 years where like this guy is like a top like
Yeah.
5-round pick or something for sure.
Especially now that we think the Jazz aren't going to be contenders for Wembanyama or Henderson anymore, right? That actually makes a big difference. Because if they're going to be winning games like this, then Sexton all of a sudden has a more secure role in the future, right?
Yeah. For sure. I see that game winner from Shea was crazy. Still think he's a sell high. So you say still think. I don't know if we were ever like sell high Shea guys. I think the phrase sell high is overused in fantasy circles. Obviously, it's all relative to what you can get in return, right? So I think if we were drafting today, and here's how I'll kind of put it, I think Shea is easily, he was a guy with the injury was sneaking into like third rounds, right? Third, fourth rounds. So I think he's easily a second rounder for sure. So I put him up there with a lot of those like late first guys, You were talking about Ja late first in points leagues, Halliburton late first in points leagues. I think Shea's right there with those guys. So sell high is kind of relative, right? I mean, I would sell high for any like top 8 guys for sure. I know he's like producing at that level, but I don't know. I'm not selling him high for any like second round pick.
Yeah, for me, he's either a keep or if you can really get a package for him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be just like a stud like this. Like we've seen enough where if he's healthy, like it's just this offense is him, right? If Chet was healthy, I think we might see a little bit of a downtick, but
Yeah.
like the only consistent thing on this team is Shea right now. So if he's healthy, he will be putting up these numbers if he's, having an average game. So I
Yeah.
think you keep him or you get him for like 2 second guys or something like crazy.
Yeah, or I think the sell high too is like, a lot of times people think of it as like straight up for X player, but I think Shea's one of those guys where like you might be able to package him and like a middling player or like a third, fourth, fifth round guy who's performing well right now and get up to like a Luka. I mean, I don't know if you could do that, but it's just something to like send to those, like kind of like that Luka, Giannis, Jokic. I'd definitely be down to do that.
I think also last thing, I think that sell high kind of has the caveat of like there is an inclination that this guy is going to come back down to like have a significant drop off, right?
Right.
Where you sell him before that happens. I don't know if he will. That drop off might be like down to 28, 9 points, but that's still like a first round.
And I think it's similar to like what we're seeing from Steph. Like I don't want to like compare these guys or anything, but just from a production standpoint, like Steph's playing out of his mind. And obviously is on the higher end of his efficiency, and the rebounding numbers are higher than you expect from him. But it's like, even if that dips, he's still going to maintain close to the value he's producing right now. So that's how I kind of feel. Yo, what's up, Brown Boy? I want to make sure I address this. So is Kyrie coming back soon, or is he going to break my heart again? I will say we got a Woj tweet, which I didn't expect to see this kind of report. I know it's felt like it's been in limbo, kind of this whole like Kyrie situation of like he needs to meet these certain requirements, expectations, but there was a Woj tweeted, ESPN sources, suspended all-star guard Kyrie Irving is nearing completion on the process needed for a return to play and could rejoin the Brooklyn Nets as soon as Sunday's game against the Grizzlies, which is really good to hear. When this Kyrie stuff was happening, I mean, there was a non-zero chance he just wasn't going to play again this season, which is like insane, but it just was in the realm of possibility. So I'm really happy to hear that. Hopefully we'll get to see Kyrie back soon, but it sounds like it should be, next week, hopefully. I'm not going to make any promises, but that's what that report kind of says.
Yeah, the escalation of this coming back to, fruition, him coming back to the court is just as it's crazy, but it's just as, predictable maybe as going the other way, unfortunately. I mean, it's Kyrie, so this is good news, but if I'm a Kyrie owner, I'm not getting my hopes up until he's on the court.
Yeah, that's fair. For sure. All right, I've got up here the Bucks Cavs game. So on the Cavs side here, I've got pulled up. It was kind of, I think this like Donovan Mitchell game is kind of like, I think it's what I thought we were going to see a lot of this season, right? This kind of like 23 to 25 point with like limited peripherals because he's playing next to Garland, who you expect to play more traditional point. I mean, it's fine. I think like Donovan Mitchell's start was obviously crazy hot, and a lot of that was without Garland. So I think he'll have games like these when the Cavs aren't, scoring super efficiently or anything. Good game from Garland as well. Garland's a guy I like a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't panic at all. I mean, they played the Bucks, probably one of the best defensive teams in the country right now. I know they don't have Drew or Chris, but I mean, they still, those guys are around Drew or Chris. Those guys are in the same kind of scheme, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't even an awful game too, right? These like 23, 3-2. I think I do want to shout out. I mean, Evan Mobley, pretty strong scoring game. These 20 points, 27-2. This is kind of, I don't know. What are your thoughts on like Mobley season long? Like, I don't want to like make you call out, is he like a, sell high when you get some of these games that are like, oh shoot, he's actually like scoring, alongside some of these peripherals. I'm kind of, I'll just say real quick and I'll throw it over to you. I'm kind of in the camp where I don't believe we're going to see the breakout that we thought was possible, right? I don't think we're going to get to see the like 19, 20 plus with, solid rebounding numbers.
Oh, yeah. I don't see him being 20 per game with guys like Garland and
Exactly. Yeah.
Mitchell on the squad, but I'm not worried about him. I think
Right.
he'll be fine. He's been fine too. Some of these bad games were against guys like Gobert. He
Mhm.
had a bad game against the Lakers against AD. Like other than that, like he's been near the 20s and the high teens, with some solid peripherals.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him. It's just it is a little concerning to see him not be able to produce in tougher matchups.
It's
Like
just
you never
like
want to have a guy that's just like, oh, it's a bad matchup, like he's gonna get overwhelmed. But that's kind of like what happens, like especially on a stacked roster, right? You have a bad matchup, they're gonna go to the guys that they have as well, like Mitchell and Garland, because it's like we don't have to force this to Mobley.
Yeah.
And also the Cavs, they're on a dry spell, so this is going for Mitchell and Mobley. Like they've lost 5 straight. They're kind of out of sorts right now, so I wouldn't freak out.
Yeah, and I think my only thing was, I think it's just like I wish these like first stretch of games, especially without Garland too, and I know Garland helps Mobley in some ways, but obviously he's a usage guy. I just wish we could see, because he's just doing what he did last season for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's been right at last season. He was 15, 8 and 2.5, and he's just kind of doing that same thing. So hopefully we'll see something in the middle of the season. But I think he was one of those guys where in drafts he was going at a point where you were kind of buying him in between his floor and his ceiling, right? You were kind of buying him, anticipating a bigger breakout than what we've seen.
Sure.
But we'll go over here. Yo, what's up, Ben? With Vanderbilt, Nance Jr., and Poku being my bottom 3, who do I drop for Bagley? 10-team points league. Yeah, so I'm not like super, super excited about Bagley. I think he should be rostered, and I know no Isaiah Stewart for a little bit is going to be better for him. I mean, is it probably, I don't know. Like I like those guys. Would it be Nance for you?
Yeah, it's either Nance or Poku. I like McDaniel, especially in points league. I like him.
Yeah,
He can
I
fill
do.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
Even on a crowded roster, if Cat and Gobert there, obviously he's been great, and if something happens to Cat or Gobert, he's going to be a stud. Poku and Nance. I worry about Poku long term just because of how those rotations look for Thunder. Like if they just are like, hey, all of a sudden we really like Jalen Williams, or hey, we really like the other Jalen Williams.
I mean, tonight,
only 14 minutes tonight. Like,
yeah, he didn't. Is there no injury or anything, right? This is actually one of the games I didn't watch a lot. I saw that Shea shot, but
yeah, admittedly, I do not know. It's gonna be Nance or Poku. I think it might be Nance though, because with Nance is doing well, but it's with Zion out. He's had games with Zion in that's like fine, but it's like very much less consistent.
Yeah, I think I think Poku's like, it's tough because like the stuff we see from Poku in these games that he gets like 30 plus minutes is like really, really nice, right? Like the defensive stats are crazy. I mean, obviously I don't think he'll be able to maintain the pace of those, but I mean, really, decent rebounding numbers and scoring too.
I think it's Nance. I'm gonna say Nance.
And I think we would both agree that we expect on a consistency basis, Bagley, at least for this upcoming stretch, will be better. Yeah, I saw that.
Lowry's bum, 100%.
Lowry's bum or Steph shooting? Very important question.
Lowry's bum is nice on and off the court.
I feel like I hear more about Lowry's. Yeah, I feel more about. Yeah, I hear more about Lowry's bum than I do Steph shooting. Right. I think just in like NBA circles, right? You're with your boys. Dude. What are you talking about?
Lowry is just like,
Kyle
you put
Lowry's...
any NFL running back in an NBA jersey and you're going to be like making the same memes. Lowry's just built like a running back.
He is, yeah.
A little less muscle, but like maybe body fat percentage a little higher.
Built like a little Ray Rice shooting threes, getting turnovers.
He's a bulldog. I take that body all day.
All right. We can go to the Bucks side here.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude.
What is Brooke Lopez?
Yeah, I was just looking at
Dude,
him overall.
so
Like,
we talked about Brooke Lopez, and okay, so no Drew, no Middleton. He's had such a weird start to the season, right? On multiple levels, right? Like scoring has been not, I guess, not insane. Obviously the 29-point game looks pretty insane, but in the season he's like 16, which is, I mean, really a lot more than you expect from him, I feel like, especially with this roster. I know no Middleton, but the blocks have been crazy. I mean, he's on crazy block pace, 2.5 right now. I mean, 7 for 9 from 3 in this one, right? So it's you'll get some of these games from these like secondary Bucks guys, especially when there's no Drew, right? Like Bobby Portis easily could have one of these games like randomly. I mean, he's still just an easy sell high for me for. I mean, where's the limit, right? Because at one point I was like, sell Brooke Lopez for any top 80 player. I mean, has that line moved at all?
I don't think so. It's funny. I think he's one of those guys that averages what, like 15 and 6 ish, maybe
Mm-hmm.
more than 6 boards. I don't know what it's at. Let me
Yeah.
check. Yeah, 15 and a half and 6. He's one of those guys that averages 15 and 6, but never has 15 and 6. Like is like
he's
20s in low rebounds, or
yeah.
like 20s in high rebounds, or like dud games and high rebounds, dud games. Like
Yeah.
it's
He's like a
he
top
will
60 points
average.
league players right now. Top 60.
Yeah, I think he will average this. The blocks will probably naturally come down a little
Yeah.
bit, like they have this month so far. This month is way lower than last month, but I think his averages, or his like numbers, will probably stay the same as averages, apart from his blocks. We'll probably say like he'll probably be like a
Yeah.
15, 14, 6 guy on the season, but he's gonna have games where it's like 20 and 8, and then he'll have a game that's 12 and 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll have a game that's 18 and 9, and then I'll have a game that's 11 and 4. And it's
Yeah.
just very infuriating. But it's a week to week league for most people. It's a week to week NBA fantasy league. So law of averages, you're still getting kind of that 16 and 6. And
Mm-hmm.
if the blocks are what keeps him, like,
Right.
you can keep him. And it's already starting to come down a little bit. I would, especially after a game like tonight, I would see what you could get for him. I would go shopping with him. I would.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, Brooke Lopez is like neck and neck in fantasy scoring right now in a points league with guys like Wendell Carter, Jeremy Grant. I mean, he's pretty close to Anthony Edwards right now. I know Ant has had some pop games and some lackluster ones, but yeah, he's and two. I will say, like, you compare him to last season. So obviously, I mean, he's playing more minutes than he has, for the Bucks, I think, ever. Yeah, he's at 31 and a half minutes right now. A lot of that is definitely who the Bucks have, right? You're missing Drew for a lot of these games. You missed Giannis for one or two there, and obviously Middleton's been out. Connaughton's been out for a while too. So they've dealt with some injuries to guys that are going to be like key starters. But I still think, like, last season you look at it, you go, oh, he's up 23 minutes from last season to 32. And it was like he missed so much. He only played 13 games last season, right, coming off the injury. So he's usually was like a 27-minute guy. So I don't think he's like a get him off your roster for any kind of value. But I think you can probably get something because he's been doing this not consistently, but the defensive stats have made it look a lot better. Just got Jeremy Grant. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's a great point. Like I didn't even think about that. Like you still have Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Pat Connaughton, other guys out.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously season long, you have Chris Middleton out and you have Drew Holiday out for a few games now. So I think that gives me like plays my hand a bit more to wanting to shop.
Yeah. All right. I just got Jeremy Grant for Rudy Gobert. Is that a W6 man? Oh, 6-man head to head. Yo, what's up, Swervo? So it's tough because I think they'll end up being pretty close in like overall fantasy points, like for the season. Grant's had some pretty hot scoring games. I don't know. Would you rather have Gobert or Grant?
I think I'd rather have Gobert.
I think I'd rather have Gobert slightly, and a little bit is just like consistency, right? Because I think season end, right, you'll have at the end of the season you'll have Grant be close to Gobert, I think, overall fantasy points, but I think it'll be a lot of like hot Grant games where he has these crazy shooting games, right? And he drops 28 plus. But for Gobert, it's like he's scoring pretty hot right now too. In some of these games, he had 25 in that Suns game. I mean, he's just going to be a 15. Like, it's so consistent with Gobert, right? Like, a bad Gobert game is still like, 10 and 12, right? Which is just like such a nice like floor to have for a player.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, and it's tough too because Grant, I think it's just a consistency thing. And I think, like, I wouldn't say Gobert has like a lot more upside night in and night out, but his floor is just so high. And Grant, we talked about this like all through with the Pistons in those 2 years, and it's been the kind of the same way for him with the Trailblazers. But like from a peripheral standpoint, he'll have these hot scoring games, but he's gonna be like a 4 rebound, 2.5 assist guy. So I mean, you kind of need those hot scoring games for him to maintain fantasy scoring with Rudy.
Yeah, I think on your team you have to have these guys that aren't your superstars, right? Because I'm assuming you have some of these first, second, third round guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have these guys that are going to be high floor guys. It's crucial that you have guys that in your lineup. They're going to give you X amount of fantasy points, and I think Gobert is that guy way more than Jeremy Grant is. He's on an absolute tear. I'm not going to disrespect Jeremy Grant. He's been fantastic for the Blazers, but Gobert, night in night out, is going to give you a good floor of fantasy points. And for like mid-round guys to like near the late round guys, a high floor is so crucial, and I think very, very important. Whereas like late round guys is probably where you took your flyers, your high upside guys. So the first, second round guys are the guys with high floors and high ceilings. That's why they're the first and second guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think guys like Gobert is very crucial to have. And positional advantage isn't nothing either. So I think having a center like that is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to find. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot easier, but especially in a 6-man, you think about in a 6-man league, I bet your waivers look better for every other position than centers. It's just a lot of times it's just really hard to find a productive waiver center, right? They're the production. It's just hard to find. Like any guys that are giving you like 10 plus boards, they're rostered, and a lot of centers don't give you high upside scoring. Cater Fox, yeah, we're Pistons fans. I'm gonna say that right now. We're Pistons fans.
Yeah.
It's Fox.
That's a good one. I don't know. I'm not trying to be I think Cade. It's very close. Yeah. Obviously we love Cade, but this is my reasoning. I think Cade is what is he? He's like 26-6 on the season.
Yeah. I think they'll be really close end of season.
Fox is definitely. I think Fox is like 24-5-6 in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Cade is going to give you more consistent peripherals. I think he's going to be more consistent rebounds and assists. Fox can probably give you a higher ceiling of like double doubles and assists.
Yeah.
But I think consistently, Cade will have that floor of 5 or 6 of each of those peripherals. And then the points, you give the nod to Fox, but points is the easiest of the categories for either guys to pop off on any given night. I think Cade has the highest floor in those two, and they have. I'll give Fox the edge on the upside for points. I think it is very close.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to probably defense and turnovers, which I think Fox actually probably has a nod on. So it's very close, but I'll say Fox.
And I will say, I mean, right now Fox has, Fox has been producing better. Obviously, we just saw this awful Cade, 1 for 11, 0 for 6 from 3 game against the Celtics. But Fox has been producing better, and obviously you like to see a little, a little bit of assist bump from last season. He's rebounding. I mean, he's averaging 5 boards a game, which is, one more than he ever has in his career. And the shooting's been pretty efficient, 54% from the field. All right, we're back. Yeah, I think it's super close. I think that's one of those trades where, like, if I had Cade and somebody offered me, I'm probably holding him because I'm a Pistons fan. And I agree. I think it would not shock me if end of season fantasy points per game, they're like neck and neck. Like, I don't even think I feel a strong feeling either way. But I think I probably, if you like held a gun to my head and I had to pick who has more fantasy points per game end of season, I guess I'd go Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Fox, and I might even be biased towards Fox now. Like, I love Fox. I just texted you like last night about I was watching that Kings Nets game.
Yeah, I'll read this message.
This Kings team
is so cute.
I said something about Sabonis, and I don't remember. It was like Sabonis is awesome, and this Kings team is so fun.
Yeah,
they just are, and their depth really has been stepping up. Evan Herter, Malik Monk, Terrence Davis with an absolute wild game.
Yeah.
That Kings team was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was so random. I think I was texting you and we were planning like some recording a video or something for the channel, and you just go, Sabonis is such a stud. I actually love this Kings team.
Yeah, dude, I do. It was fun to. I was watching it,
Dude,
that's the thing, right?
153 that game. That's crazy. I'm sad
That's
we
the
didn't
thing.
do a
It's like
recap stream for that game.
that's why you need to have these markets on like prime time because guys
Yeah.
like I probably won't watch Kings game as much, but it's on TNT and I'm watching this game because it's like okay, there's probably like 2 games on that night, and I'm like okay, I'm gonna watch the one that's easily accessible and watch
Yeah.
one on TNT, and I'm like this team is fun. It's in Sacramento, like this is like
Yeah. Oh,
got some
dude. Imagine if they
highlight
had
guys.
Hallie still.
I mean,
I guess they wouldn't have Saboner,
it was
but
bonus, yeah.
I know. I just.
They're on a hot streak. Like I really hope they make the playoffs. All the like a lot of memes about them, but like I really hope they make the playoffs and just it'd be fun to see Sacramento in the playoffs for the first time since what I think they have the longest drought in the league for playoffs appearances actually, or one of them at least. But
I believe it.
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them.
All right, we'll keep this moving. I'm pulling up the Hornets here. We finally got a LaMelo, a good efficiency scoring game. Not even good, but just like average. I mean, his game, what was he, 4 for 15 from 3. That
This
last
game?
one.
Oh, I was gonna say
No, that last game, yeah.
Yeah.
26, 6 and 1. Not amazing peripherals, but I think it is nice to see, his first 3 games back, he is shooting a ton. That's what you expect. Not as much as in this game, honestly, actually, as he has in the other previous ones, but solid game. I'm excited about LaMelo. You get a nice PJ Washington game here. Actually, a solid game all around for the starters. Even Plum Dog Plum Dog's been having some good games, man. He's just playing. I remember we were talking about Plumlee, and I was like, he just needs to be rostered because I have a feeling he's just gonna play 28 plus minutes, which is I feel like it's one of those things where it's just such a need for them, but they just can't. They can't not play Plumlee,
Yeah, it's something we've experienced firsthand as Pistons fans.
Yeah.
He's just kind of
Plum Dog
stumbles his way and hustles into a pretty solid stat line.
Yeah, he's just on the floor with LaMelo, and he's gonna get
There's a
some
reason
layups.
he's out there. He's a dog. Like,
Yeah.
There's a reason he's out there. He might not be the most talented guy, but he's a hardworking guy.
Yeah, 2 blocks. And then for the Pacer side, I talked about it. I love Tyrese Halliburton. It's a classic Hallie line: 22 points, 11 assists, and 3 steals. I mean, he just got. The scoring is one of those things that people always point to, but I think he has shown, we've seen the bump in scoring and the assist numbers have maintained. He's doing what he did last season. But instead of 15 and 10, it's these games like 22 and 10, which is nice. You called it. We had the player props stream tonight. We had the Miles Turner play. I know that was one that you liked a lot. Oh, we liked LaMelo too. I wanted to shout that out. LaMelo hit.
Yep.
LaMelo and Turner. We had another Ben Mathurin game, and this Ben Mathurin game is, I think, one of the reasons that I talked about Mathurin being a sell high was, he only played 21 minutes, so the efficiency is pretty good from a scoring metric, but 20 points, 3 rebounds, 0 assists. I think he's just going to be like a Jeremy Grant light, and I think that if you can like get that kind of return for him, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't think the peripherals are ever going to be there, really. He's going to need the ball to fall into his lap as far as rebounding goes. It's just when he gets the ball, he's looking to shoot. So.
And I mean, he's great too. Like, this has nothing to do with like how well he's played. I mean, he's been phenomenal. But I think it's from a fantasy perspective, when you do get these like kind of, maybe he gets a crazier, lucky, strong fantasy scoring game. I think that's when you kind of want to move him, because his upside when it is mostly points is going to be, he's not going to average 25 plus this season. So if he's giving you 20, 23 and 3, that's not incredible. It's really good for a rookie, but not saying, yo, what is up? Ben Baudalas, appreciate the super chat. I have KD, Kat, Sabonis, Scotty, Jamal Murray, Sengun, Vassell, Trey Jones, and Rob Will on IR. Any moves you would look to make? Is this category or points?
Either way, one name sticks out to me, and I think you know who it is. One name sticks out to me that I'm like, I want to ship him to the the nearest store. And after tonight, it might be a good time to ship them. You know who that is?
Is it a little meow?
Yeah, yeah, it is. He's had a couple. He's strung together a couple good
Yeah.
games. Listen. He's coming back to
Talking about Cat.
you
Sorry,
know,
I don't know
yeah,
if they
Cat.
got the
Thank
meow.
you. He's coming back to kind of
Yeah.
where he's supposed to be this season. Actually, I guess he's kind of started out like decently strong too.
Yeah.
I don't think the scoring and rebounding is going to be super high, and I don't
Yeah.
think there's a shock to anybody with Gobert being there. The assist numbers are great. We knew he was a good passing big, and with another offensive weapon like Gobert right next to him down in the paint, that's obviously going to help. I would like to see what you could get for him.
Yeah,
I think
he's got the
as a
name
passing
value.
center,
Yeah.
name value, a passing center is very valuable. And so, I mean, if you
It is a
can get
points league,
someone
but
from,
yeah.
because you have Sabonis, who's another, I think, elite, kind of big, another good passing big. I guess if it's a category league, you just
Oh,
hold him
it's points. It's points. He commented.
Oh, I just saw that. Okay, points league. Yeah, maybe I'd maybe try to see what you can get for him.
Yeah, and we're not even
not,
saying it's like you need to sell Cat, right? Because he's
no.
end of season, he's gonna be around, 20, 22 points around there. But we've seen a dip. We've seen the increase in assists a little bit too, which I think has been nice consistency because he's kind of, seeing obviously the drop off in scoring with the emergence of Ant. But I think he was one of those guys where we're like, man, he's going at the end of the first, mid to late first, and there were guys I was way more excited about than Karl Anthony Towns, just because I did not see him being able to replicate that kind of value.
Do you think he could get? I don't know.
Cat and Sabonis for Jokic.
I don't know if I would do that.
I don't think I would. I know it's like it's so nice to get get Jokic, but I don't think I would do that.
I would rather do like
you're just losing too much value.
I would try like a Cat Trey Jones or Cat Vassell for DeJounte Murray. I don't think you could do Cat for DeJounte Murray straight up. No, you couldn't do that. You could try it if your league mates.
I mean, you might be able to do some kind of wonky trade for Jokic though. Like I think Cat and Sabonis is too much, but I wonder if you could do the kind of trade you just talked about for Murray and try to get it for Jokic. I mean, Jokic has had a pretty
low on Jokic for sure.
He's had a really rough start to the season. I mean, right now he's putting up like. Obviously, the assist numbers are the big discrepancy between him and Cat, but I mean, he's 29 and he's basically like 29-9. And last season, 27-13. It's just one of those like you just expect the rebounding numbers to be better, the scoring numbers to increase. I mean, he's had some really, really low scoring, offensive usage games. So he's a guy I definitely would try to package somebody with Cat to move up and get. But I think Sabonis is a little too much. I think you're just losing too much value because the replacement level player you're going to play instead of.
You're right.
Yeah, I just I saw I did a Shea for Beal.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh. We got to get a soundboard.
Right.
Should we get a meaty soundboard? Bruh.
A moment of silence for Jeremy Chuck. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the clickbait title. I think Beal will be good rest of season.
I wouldn't. Listen, we're men of transparency. Don't sugarcoat it. That's tough. That's very tough. Shay's just going to be better.
See if you can.
Hey, season's not over. Yeah, text commissioner.
That's my bad. Misclick. What? You approved? You sent the offer. My bad.
I have a league that I'm in where someone accidentally dropped Keldon Johnson. And one guy in the league spent all of his fab for Keldon Johnson.
Rightfully
so. So it happens.
Ooh, would you trade Booker and DeRozan for Luka?
Booker and DeRozan for Luka.
Just offer me that. 6-man head-to-head points. Honestly, 6-man, I think you do it.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is here's my general rule, and it's not really a general rule because it's hard to equate, but the fewer teams, the more willing I am to upgrade to the better player in like these 2-for-1 deals, because in like a 12-14 team league, you trade away Booker and DeRozan, you're consistently going to have to play another, low end bench guy, waiver guy. So the replacement level between those two players is a bigger discrepancy than in a 6-team league where okay, yeah, I lost DeRozan. I packaged up to get Luka, but it doesn't hurt me as much because I get to play Lauri Markkanen instead of DeRozan or something like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I don't know if that was like a great example, but yeah, I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would like to know who is like going to be that guy that's going to replace him, but I 1,000% agree in these smaller
Yeah, and
team
six man.
leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get the guy, you want to get the upgrade. You think Beal's going to be good though? Of course, I think Beal's going to be good. I think there's always upside for him to score more.
Yeah.
I just the usage that he's been showing us makes me think that he's like might just be around 18 shots a game and around 20 points per game.
Yeah.
But facilitative wise, I mean, the numbers are up assist wise. So that's a promising thing for Beal because I don't think he's been around 6 assists um, very often in his career. So I like that. And then if we can just be more aggressive, then you're looking at maybe like 24, 4 and 6, which is very, very solid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think he'll be all right. I think he could easily level out and do what he did in the 40 games last season where he was, 23, 4 and 6 guy.
Yeah, just with the way KP and Kuzma are playing and the depth they have now, it's just hard for me to believe that he's going to be back to.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had a good game today, like 25, 6 and 6. Like,
Yeah. Honestly, that was my worry with Porzingis. Honestly, we were talking about Porzingis in drafts. Obviously, the injury history, like you always have to talk about it. But one of the things was it was just like I don't really see a world where Beal, isn't like a offensive usage hog. And you've got Kuz there as well, but we're kind of seeing it.
yeah,
So obviously, if that kind of if you've got that kind of Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Brunson effect, where it's hard for guys who've traditionally been like a 23, 24 plus point guys, it's really hard for them to keep that when KP's taking the shots he's taken and Kuz is as well. Do you want to go to that game? This was also a weird game tonight too. I'll pull that game up. 121 and 120. This was a nice scoring game. Shea is nuts. Jeez. Yeah, I've got it pulled up, so I at least have to shout out. Shea 42, 6 and 7. Only one defensive stat, but who cares? He's nuts. Pretty efficient scoring game, but still, he's crazy. Anything else on the Thunder you want to talk about before we, switch over to talk about Beal and KP a little bit?
I'll just shout out the fact that like Shea went to the line 17 times. I think that is something that I'm not like shocked at, but it's like I just want to bring light to that. Like Shea is one of the best players in the league at getting to the stripe.
Yeah.
And so like seeing that, like that is something that like Shea fan, like people can get used to for Shea. He's going to get to the line 10 plus times a lot.
For sure. Yeah, Poku minutes were weird. 13. We just saw a ton of rotational minutes for a lot of guys, right?
Shocker.
Both the Williams brothers playing 25-27. Is Vassell for Ayton a good trade in a points league? These kind of like I'm higher on Ayton than most people. I know
Are you
started
getting
the season.
Vassell for Ayton? Like I'm assuming you're giving up Vassell the way that that's phrased. I'd rather have this.
What'd you say?
Crazy. I said I might rather have Vassell this year.
He's outperforming him by like a significant margin.
Yeah, not only that, but it's like defensive stat wise, like I think they're pretty even. And then I think Vassell's little assist upside kind of makes up for his rebound discrepancy because in a points league, rebounds is the few.
It's a nice floor.
The fewer impacting. It's also the fewer impacting stat out of all of them. And then point wise, he's outdoing him, and also like the usage is just so easy. Like
I think I know the discrepancy between where they're at looks pretty wide. If you're pulling up like a fantasy point scored or anything, Ayton's missed. He's left games early. He's played some weird minute games with the injuries, right? I mean, if you just look at Ayton, so this is kind of a thing that I definitely recommend. It's the easiest thing you can do for fantasy, right? Is you just kind of look at what players have done, the previous year traditionally versus what they're doing right now and kind of see if you can point to your reasonings, right? So right now, Ayton is a 14.6 points per game guy. Last season, 17. He's averaging 7.7 rebounds a game when he's always been 10 plus. So there's little things like that where I can easily see a path to Ayton being right close to Vassell as far as like fantasy production. But I agree. I think Vassell's in a really good spot. You know, if you just look at that team, like it's going to be Vassell and Keldon just being offensive usage guys. And Trey Jones is just never going to be a super high volume guy. When Pirtle's playing, he's not either. I think it's just it's hard to.
This season, he's also been much better with Chris Paul. The 3 games that he's missed without Chris Paul, he's been like okay. The games without say that backwards. The 3 games without Chris Paul, he's been okay. The games with Chris Paul, he's been much better. Stats wise, like he's been even better than it shows because 2 of those games, one of them he was out, and the other one he left early.
Yeah.
So Chris Paul does help him a lot. I like Ayton. I agree with you. I think there's I think he's still going to grow this.
Like I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a 16-10 guy, you know. And right now he's a 14-7, like around there. So there's going to be a higher floor for Ayton, like rest of season.
So let's answer the question.
No, we just talk in circles until they exit.
I'm not your little politician, all right? Let's answer the question. Vassell for Ayton, is that a good trade in a points league? I'm gonna say give me Vassell. I am.
I'm gonna say tie. Both are good trades.
Yeah, I like them both.
They're equal in my rankings.
It is a good trade.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'll give Vassell a slight nod.
Yeah, I do think it's like, and this sounds like a cop out, but I do think end of season these guys are going to be really close. I know we've said that for a couple of guys, but I think it's pretty even. You think Shea going to decline to Beal's level? Yeah, Shea just will be worse than what he's doing right now. Like he just will. And it's, you know, obviously it's not, he's having some games where he's shooting super efficiently. So like, I know you can look at his efficiency from a shooting metric is definitely on the higher end, right? I mean, he's 54% from the field, 40% from 3. It's definitely the higher end, but man, he's just shooting so damn much.
I think the peripherals will decline to right near Beal. I think the peripherals for Beal and him will be very, very similar. I think the scoring wise, though, I think Shea will have like a 6-point nod, like a 6-point difference. So at the end of the day, it looks terrible. I think you're losing about a 6 to 8 point difference at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be straight up with you, man. How the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah, no, we're not here to coddle you. Okay, we're here to win your fantasy league.
What your dog is for.
Yeah. All right. Yo, what's up, Hollywood? I just traded Brook Lopez for Nurk in a 16-team 9-cat head-to-head. Yeah, I mean, I Brook went off tonight. I'm a bit stunned. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you can't beat yourself out about Brook Lopez scoring 29 in a game with no Drew, no Chris. Like, these games are going to happen. We play a season-long game, you know? It's not a nightly game.
I love it. I'm a huge Nurk guy.
Yeah.
I love Nurkic so much. I think that's a win.
Yeah, and I know he hasn't, like, Nurk hasn't been insane, but, like, in a category league, I think they're going to give you...
I think you win rebounds. I think you're going to end up being pretty even on points.
Yep.
I think you win rebounds, you win assists, you lose threes. You probably tied, maybe a slight lose on free throw percentage. Field goal percentage, you probably win. Mm-hmm. Steals, you win. So you lose
blocks,
lose. Rebounds, threes. I think you win that. I think you win that 5-4, and a slight nod in one of those categories. I think you win 5. I think you win that 5-4, 6-3 ish if you're in a 9.
Yeah, and in category leagues, right? I mean, you right. I think it's just like when you think about over the season value that Nurk is going to give you versus Brook, it's like those 3 extra rebounds he's going to average is, you know, per game or even more than that is like that itself is a big enough, I think, difference at that position, right? Because you just kind of called out all the differences. Like none of them are massive enough versus like the rebounding floor. Yeah. Should I add Westbrook for my waiver wire 10-team cat league? I think he probably should be rostered. 10-team?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sick of the slander.
It depends on who you're... So I don't want to say it depends on who you're dropping because I think he probably should be rostered somewhere. But let us know who your worst player is
I don't
You don't
care.
even care.
1,000% should be rostered.
Yes, I agree.
He don't let the media and
But
the
what if
memes
this team
on
is
you.
a specific team where it's like threes and
Threes are just magnified and
he
no, I
only
mean
has threes and
Russell is gonna be
turnovers and
Russell's gonna be
yeah.
a 15-6-6
Yeah.
guy.
Like what
Like
Russell's going to do, you can't find on waivers.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
He 1,000% should be rostered. And I've been saying that from the beginning when everybody's freaking out when he's having a bad start. Like, chill out. It's Russ. He's gonna find a way to get stats.
Yeah.
I think he 1,000% should be rostered. I might drop Josh Hart. 10 team.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Who else is on your
He's
roster?
playing so many
I,
minutes.
I do like Josh Hart.
I
Just does
know.
the right things. Like he doesn't score a bunch, but he rebounds really good defense. He plays a lot of minutes.
He does play a ton of minutes.
I'd like. Is it? Did he say it's a points league?
No, he said cat,
MVP
didn't he?
category league. Okay, yeah, category league. I could see that a little bit because he's like, it's a lot of minutes, but it's not enough offensive usage to really give you those, you know, stats night in night out to win. It's just a little bit here and there, but
Yeah.
he's honestly like,
I mean, the rebounds are I mean, 8. He's going to give you 8
yeah, I mean,
boards, 4
he's like
assists.
he's 3 assists away from being a Draymond Green, which everybody would want on their team too.
Yeah.
So, I know 3 assists per game is a lot to ask for, but I'd like to know who else is on there. I do like Josh Hart, but
No, I think
uh,
I mean I think
like,
here's what I'll say. I know you like Josh Hart, but I don't think there's a world where midseason you're like, why did I drop Josh Hart? Oh no. Unless
yeah,
like 2 Blazers
yeah,
players get hurt and he gets to do what
right,
he did last season.
yeah, that's a good point. I'm with you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love when we can like
Always with you.
can connect there. It means a lot. I know
Just keep going.
we're coming up. We're coming up on an hour here. Keep the
Yep.
questions coming. We'll keep kind of rolling through.
Yep.
We'll talk. Let's talk Wizards a little bit.
Should we? Never mind.
They don't say it.
I was gonna say, like, should we talk about how we went 3 for 3, and maybe if you want to, if you want to play some sports
I
bets, you have to
I
use
will. Okay,
underdog
no. Let's do this.
for 100% deposit match up to
All
$100.
right, we're taking
And
the we're taking
also
the
like,
score off. We're taking the score off. Don't leave. You need to listen. All right, look at me or Canyon, one of us. All right. Every day, 2 p.m. Eastern time, your boy, plural, Canyon and Will
Will
are
and Canyon.
live on the Flock Sports Betting Channel. Now, what is the Flock Sports Betting Channel, you might say? Glad you asked. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. Flock Sports Betting Channel is where we are looking at not just underdog. We actually end up looking at multiple books lines because we're using a site that kind of shows those all together. But this channel right here that I just posted in the chat, that is the Flock Sports Betting Channel where we stream 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, going over all the NBA games. We talk about the injuries too. It's honestly like you could pop in there and ask fantasy questions,
Oh yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
we're literally just talking ball, right? And a lot of that's going to impact, different things. So we're talking about lineups. We're looking at player props, and we usually end up giving player props that we like on Underdog. And if you don't know what Underdog is, it's
There
a
we go.
fun little app that you can place player props, and you use code Canyon. You see it scrolling down there. Links in the description. You get 100% deposit match up to $100. So tonight we had three plays we really liked. We liked Miles Turner points. We actually, honestly, there were like 5 plays that we were like in the mix because both the Bulls guys hit, and we liked both of those. Levine and DeRozan, LaMelo points hit, Miles Turner points.
Trae Young points hit.
Yes, sir. And it's fun too. Like it's one thing to like, you watch like content that's just like, here are the 2 props you need to play, and like, okay, cool. Like you can consume that kind of thing. But I really like just talking about prop stuff because I think that's like when you can bring multiple people to the table and are discussing things. I think that's when you more legitimately are looking at player props than just like,
Yeah. I mean,
big money bets on TikTok told me to play
right.
Bradley Beal over rebounds.
Yeah. To talk about these props like accurately or to the best of our ability, you have to talk about hoops, right? You have to talk
Yep.
about lineups, schemes, matchups, totals, injuries, anything that could apply to fantasy as well. So just come talk hoops.
For sure. All right. Any questions in the chat? I know we've kind of gone through a couple of these games and we're coming up on an hour here. Let us know if there's any questions in the chat. We'll just kind of mellow out. Give me a fantasy NBA hot take, Kenyon.
Okay.
Put you on the spot.
Golly.
Or
Hot take.
or do you want just an NBA hot take? Who's your MVP? Who's your MVP? Let's do that.
Oh, Luka.
Luka.
But that's not a hot take.
Yeah, no.
Luka's
sure.
my MVP.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Luka's my MVP. Let's see. Western Conference Finals winner. It's going to be the Portland Trail. No, I'm just kidding. The Western Conference Finals winner. Give me the Mavs.
Classic.
Give me the Mavs. They're going to figure it out. They've got the depth now. They're going to figure it out. Give me the Mavs. Eastern Conference Finals winner. God, my preseason bet was the Sixers. I'm going to stick with the Sixers.
Yeah, I think.
Dude, how about, I don't know if we've streamed since then. How about that Joel Embiid game?
Oh, yeah.
11, 8 assists, 7 blocks. That, if you're in a points league, I think that was like damn near 120 fantasy points. That is unbelievable.
Insane. He almost had a quadruple double.
Unbelievable.
A 50-point quadruple double.
I don't know about Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know if that's been. I mean, Shaq, I think, has had a couple. Was it Shaq?
That's the kind of game. Maybe? That's the kind of game where you were told happened like hundreds of years ago, and you're like, come on, the tape's not like that didn't happen.
Yeah,
dude's playing with janitors. Those kind of games.
Who did they play? It wasn't the Cavs. It was.
Was it the same night as that Garland 40-point game?
Yes, 50. I think.
Garland had 50.
Yeah, it was this. Oh, they put the Jazz too. Yeah, it was the same night about that game. It's funny because I was talking to my brother. Shout out my brother.
Shout out Kenyon.
Shout out Colton. He has Darius Garland on his fantasy team. We're in the same league, and he was like, "Dude, Canyon, Garland had like 50. I think it was 51, whatever. Shot like 10 threes." I was like, "No way!" Check my team, and Embiid. I was like, "Hey, dude, check this out." I was like, "Man, come on!" And then he was joking with me today about it. He was like, "I was checking Twitter about the Garland game, all giddy about my guy, all over Twitter." 10 minutes later, it was flooded by Embiid. No one even cares about the Garland game.
It's tough. No, he'll be pretty crazy for rest of the season. All right. So MVP, we'll quick do this and we'll close out here. MVP, you got Luka.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd probably go Luka too. I know there's some like fun names up there with what Shea's doing right now, but I think like consistency standpoint, I think Luka can maintain at least. And a lot of the guys that are like going to be up there with him, right? I mean, the Joker, I don't think we're seeing the 3-peat with the numbers we're seeing right now. I mean, Embiid and Giannis are going to be up there too, but I don't know. I feel like Luka deserves an MVP at some point. He's going to be one of those guys where like if he doesn't have one in the next like 3 years, it's going to be like, man, how? So I like that one. All right.
Oh, I got another one for you.
Okay.
It seems okay. Most improved, Lauri Markkanen, right? Seems obvious, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
He's currently plus 1,000.
Wait, who's the lowest or the best odds?
Someone is plus 160 to win. That someone is Shea. I get it. He's having a great season. Most improved?
Yeah.
He's a plus 1,000 on Lauri Markkanen.
Right. I think it's tough because it's so relative. Because I think most improved, I think the like MVP like bump is pretty big, you know? Because I think technically, like you would say, Markkanen's more improved from what he's done in previous seasons. But dude, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about Shea in the MVP race. Like I get that. Just got offered Kyrie for OG and Jabari. Do I take this? Yeah, I think with the positive news, I think if you told me that a week ago, I would have been like, oh, dude, I'm scared of this Kyrie situation. But I think with that positive Woj tweet.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Canyon's still scared about Kyrie.
I'm not scared. I actually
OG and Jabari though. Oh, you like OG? Yeah.
I love OG.
I do. Like
I was gonna say I would do it with OG, but Jabari's not really a nice little. It's not like, you know.
It's OG for Kyrie at this point.
Yeah, it's like you're getting a bag of chips and you're getting I don't know. getting the rapper with it.
Yeah, it's Kyrie. I love OG too. Yeah, I get it.
If you can get, I would counter it and grab someone that's better than Jabari, because that person seems like, oh, I'll just toss in Jabari and maybe he'll do it. Like that person knows what they're doing. Like just try to see if you can replace Jabari with an actual.
I don't know. Do you
Now,
even
it
count?
hurts
Here's
now.
my thing. Here's my quick thing. Do you even counter? Because I think that Kyrie trade gets canceled the minute we see Kyrie is expected to play, and we're kind of already seeing those reports. I think you just accept it. I know I love trying to
That's
claw for
assuming.
value. I get it.
Uh,
But I'm just
yeah,
worried you counter. I'm worried you counter, and he sees it for a day, and then Woj tweets Kyrie Irving confirmed playing tonight, and he's like, "Oh no, cancel." Like that.
yeah.
I see that happening.
You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about Woj tweets that Kyrie plays 5 games and then he's done again for the rest of the season on something else. I
Kyrie,
love Kyrie, one of the favorite players I've ever
I
watched in
do
my
love
life.
Kyrie.
But
He's so
man,
good.
if I would not be shocked if 10 games after he's back, he's just out again. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. And I love OG. If it's a points league, Zion, Ingram, Giddy for Mitchell, DeMar, and Vooch. Zion and Ingram is interesting. Giddy for Donovan Mitchell. Oh, give me Donovan Mitchell, DeMar DeRozan, and
it's so
Vooch.
funny these like
Thousand
the
percent.
team
Thousand
combos.
percent give me Mitchell, DeMar, and Vooch.
Yeah, you get the best player,
Category,
and
by the way.
yeah,
Yeah, it's still
Demar
that because
Demar
I
gets
mean,
a
this
little
game.
down tick, and like Giddy is more interesting, but I think I do think category league makes it a little weirder because Demar in a cat league hurts you. Like he's way better in
Yeah,
points.
yeah. I mean, you win points. You probably tie or lose rebounds.
Yeah, I mean Vooch is like Vooch compared to the other guys,
You
right? It's
lose
kind of
assists. You win threes. You win threes.
yeah, not by a ton
You win
though.
field goal percentage. You probably win field goal percentage.
It's a pretty I think it's a pretty fair trade in cat.
Field goal percentage, points. Mm, yeah, maybe not in cat. But I mean, if Zion's not going to play for, if he's only going to play 60 games,
Yeah,
and you have Zion and Ingram, I don't usually read in too much to having teammates because usually just
yeah.
bounces
I
out.
mean
Like
it's
I have
Demar
Jalen
and
Brown and
Vooch, but
Jason
yeah,
Tatum on the same team in a league, and that works out pretty well. Um, that's tough, man.
I
Yeah,
think it's really fair. I actually do think it's very fair.
points think I'm a big yes.
Yeah,
Category
I
league.
think it's easy in points.
I guess what are you going for in your cat league? Because if
Yeah,
you're like a
that's a good.
points threes guy, then that's just gonna make you even better. If you're like an assists guy, I wouldn't do it because you're gonna probably lose assists. You're gonna definitely lose assists. Uh, Turnovers,
You probably
probably pretty tight. Going for threes, then yeah, maybe you do it.
yeah. It's tough because Demar is
Like
just like one of those high value guys that's just so bad for threes. But
yeah, if you're like just seeking out threes for a trade, I'd maybe like slim that trade down and try to not
like cut out Demar and
right. Cut out Demar and cut out Zion if you can. No, he's not gonna do that. Well, actually, Ingram and Giddy. Oh, you're getting Mitch and Vooch. Yeah, he would. That's tough. If you want threes, you're gonna win threes without the trade. 100%.
yeah. Is there any world? So you would cut Demar for either of Zion or Ingram?
I mean, I would do Zion and Ingram for Mitch and Vooch if you're looking for threes.
I don't think we were speaking the same thing, but yeah, I think.
It definitely works. I didn't hear what you said.
No, I was saying that like so I'm reading this as he has Zion, Ingram, and Giddy, and he's trading for Donovan Mitchell, DeMar DeRozan, and Vooch. So my thing was, can you remove DeMar from the trade and also keep one of Zion or Ingram? Like you would rather do that, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you could do that though.
Right. Yeah, I
I
get
think you
that.
can get rid of. Honestly, I think you can get rid of DeMar and Giddey. Like you can give up Zion Ingram for Mitchell and Vooch. I think you would do that. I think you actually may, because you can keep your rebounds and assists and defensive stats from Giddey. You still win threes.
Yeah,
Out of
I think DeMar. I know DeMar. Like people know that he's worse than Cat, but I think he carries some like strong value just because he's DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I mean
Like
having a consistent like 23, 5
right.
and 20, 25, 4 and 4 guy is pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't think he's like disgusting in Cat. Like he's worse, obviously, but
Yeah, I'd say
especially, and it's just I think it's more of like, and you don't want to get too cute with like I need only players that do these two things. Like obviously, like those are key, but I think that he's one of those guys where I would not mind trimming. And I know like Zion or something isn't like a massive threes guy, but I think like the other things he does. So like DeMar's one of those guys where like your team is going for threes and you have DeMar who's just like not really going to give you anything there.
Yeah,
And he doesn't give you much elsewhere, right? That's kind of the replacement level, right? Like a player you're replacing with DeMar. Like, yes, Zion isn't going to give you crazy threes either, but he's going to give you, way better peripherals elsewhere.
Yeah, without knowing the full roster, I would just say try to slim that trade down a little bit. Because you can, I think you can take out some guys that you don't have to get rid of and still win the threes trade pretty handy.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we will close up shop here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Canyon, any parting words?
Set your lineups, check your waivers, fill your IL spots.
Set a timer on your phone.
Be the manager that does more. Be the manager that looks at his roster every day.
Don't be the guy. Remember the feeling when you go, man, I really benched Tatum because I didn't check my roster before his game started. Just remember that feeling at 30 minutes before tip off.
Yep.
Peace out. See you in the next video. Like, subscribe. Tell your mom you love her.
Yep. Like, subscribe. Tell your mom, dad, guardian you love them. Sibling, step sibling, friend,
Pat, imaginary friend.
Pat.
Me.
Yep.
DM me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and DM me. Tell me you love me.
Yeah, me. Tell me you love me. Go to the mirror. Tell yourself you love yourself. Get some self-care in your life, and have a good night.
And go to bed. Peace out. I don't care what time it is. Go to bed.